I will have done my job with this video if I can confuse you, if I can get you to question strategies that you've used in your life to feel more secure and intelligent. That's a tall order, for sure. But I have a secret weapon, an ancient wisdom hiding in plain sight, the mighty paradox, an idea that seems like a contradiction, but is actually a beautiful truth derived from the natural order of things. In this video, I'd like to persuade you that if you want to become more secure and become wiser, your best bet is to embrace insecurity and ignorance. Sounds weird, I know. Stay with me. Let's start with something that you know, but sometimes you ignore. We don't know for sure what's going to happen next. The future cannot be secured. Surprises, tragedies, twists and turns, they can and will come. Obvious, right? Yet when we're feeling insecure or angry or anxious, we still push to try and secure this future even though it cannot be done. Sometimes it seems like the only thing we can do. But what happens when we go against the grain like that? Enter the paradox. The more we push for security, the more insecure we become. Usually we do this by putting too many personal rules that the future must conform to. Take, for example, I must know where my daughter is at all times. Or another rule like, I must never fail at an important task. We try to lock down the situation to only what we're comfortable with. The problem is, these rules are going to be broken when one day your daughter's cell phone battery dies, or our mind goes blank on the big test or on a big interview. When these rules are broken, because life is just being life, we can feel out of control. And we might want to add more rules to make sure that never happens again, and on and on. Meanwhile, we've made ourselves inflexible, unable to deal with surprises, in a word, insecure. Maybe our friend the paradox can help though. What would happen if we embraced insecurity, embodied it even? Well, for starters, we know we'd be in much better alignment with the way life actually works. We could stop swimming against the current, wasting our precious energy trying to do the impossible. A huge weight would be lifted off of our shoulders because instead of trying to prevent the future, we could simply prepare to adapt. You see, our safety would come from adaptation, not from an absolute guarantee of security. Insecure, yet safe. Aristotle once wrote, "The more you know you don't know." In other words, intelligence leads to ignorance. And this from one of the greatest minds in Western history. Huh? Welcome back to the paradox, where what seems like a contradiction is actually a profound truth. Let's unpack it. This comes from the fact that when we encounter new cultures, new experiences, thoughts, ideas, facts, we come to realize just how ignorant we really are and how the world cannot be fully known. Not everyone comes to this realization, though. And maybe you and I are these people sometimes when our mind is like a cup that's full and can't accept anything new. Instead of listening, we wait for our turn to speak. Instead of saying things like, maybe, or it depends, or I'd have to think about that, or even I don't know, we become this walking monologue with cut and dry answers to offer for any question anyone might ask, or our opinions that we can give on any topic that comes up. We pretend as though we can take the mystery of life and put it in a tidy little box of definition. And we substitute this dry mental framework for the spontaneous, unknowable world. That leaves us feeling disconnected, alone, and in this permanently fixed state of our prejudices, opinions, and biases. Ugh. Okay, let's flip it, paradox style. What would happen if we embraced ignorance, if we became it? Freedom. We could become comfortable in a state of not knowing. The compulsive need for answers would fall away, and we could tolerate the ambiguity that's present in just about every situation. Silence would no longer be a threat. And when we're listening, we could learn from the other person instead of just hear them. We would stop assuming that there's an easy answer for everything, and we could start asking questions. Most of all, we open ourselves up to the mystery that is life in all of its unknowability, the wonder of other people's worldviews, and allow ourselves to be vulnerable and therefore influenced by the rich world around us. Ignorant, yet wise. Insecurity and ignorance. Before this video, you might have never intentionally sought out these states. In fact, you probably would have done anything you could to avoid them. But that, my friends, is how you arrive at exactly the place you were trying to escape from. The beauty of these paradoxes is they show us that the way home is the opposite way. The path to safety is through insecurity, and the path to wisdom is through ignorance. My challenge to you is not to take a look at these, not to think about them, but to be them. So the next time somebody looks at you and says, "You're so ignorant," or "You're so insecure," I want you to say, "Yes, I am, and I've worked very hard at it." Thank you.